Sit Down Zumock podcast coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location. This is a Z-Man sounding like a classic rock DJ about to hit the post. We're coming up with another nonstop block of Foreigner at the top of the hour. I'm up against it, but we'll also be giving away 2 tickets to Mark's Great American Rib Burn-Off right here on 98.5 WNCX. Okay, that's enough. Chad Zumock, that's my name. How are you today? This is a great episode. I'm excited for this episode. I got an email from Bob. You can always email me directly, chadzumock3@gmail.com, or through my website. Bob, much like a lot of people who have tagged me in tweets, Bob goes, love the podcast, loyal listener, but I would love to see Dave Landau on the podcast. Well, guess what, Bob? Guess what, Bob Kirtland? Is that how you say it? Dave Landau is on this week's episode. Dave's he's been a very requested guest. I think it's because of me going on the Compound Media shows. But I got to sit down with Dave. I've known Dave for a long time, and we talk about everything. O&A, Howard Stern, how we got to start in comedy in Detroit. It's a good conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy it. But before we get to Dave Landau, let's talk about some dates. I got dates, y'all. This is coming out today. So this is the 23rd, October 23rd, the 25th through the 27th. I'm going to be at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls / Akron. I got 5 shows, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. And if you listen to this, you want to get on the show Thursday, email me directly. I'll put you on the list. I got you for Thursday. I hope to see you. I got a lot of new material. It's going to be a lot of fun. The 29th through November 3rd, I'm going to be in New York City doing spots throughout the city. I'm going to be, as in the aforementioned Compound Media, I'm going to be on the Anthony Cumia show with Dave Landau, October 35th. Halloween, I will be on there. I think I'll be on Burning Bridges the same day. And on November 1st, I'll be on Bennington on Sirius XM. Ron Bennington, the best radio guy out there. No one's better than Ron Bennington. Nobody. There's not a radio guy out there that is better than Ron Bennington. And I'm not even kissing his ass. He's the best. Ron is the best. So I'm excited to be back on the Bennington show. My 5th time. I'm not counting. And I'm also doing spots. So follow me on social media. The Instagram, that's what I'm active on. The Twitter. I got the YouTube page where you can listen to this podcast now. You go over to YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Adventures in Argyle. Hit subscribe. It's free. And I put up videos and all kinds of stuff. I was late to the game on building my YouTube page. I was focused back in the day on building my old radio show's YouTube page, but I never built mine. So I'm late to the game. If you could help me out, that'd be great. Also, it's always in the description, but I never mention it. Laughable, the app. Laughable is an app my buddy Ned Kenny came up with, and it's where I listen to all my podcasts, all of them. And it's free to download. Just go to the store, download Laughable, and you can follow any comedian or anyone really throughout their podcast journeys. So if you go to Laughable and you put me in the search engine, press follow, and it'll show you all the podcasts I've been on or the ones I'm coming on or the ones that are coming out. But it's a great app. I listen to all the podcasts. You know, you got the regular, podcast app that I have. I have an Apple iPhone. And sometimes that can be a little janky. But with Laughable, it's so easy to use. I recommend it. It's free. And I get nothing in return for that. I just want to let you guys in on a good way to listen to my podcast. So hit subscribe, follow. And I think you'll enjoy it. Laughable.com. Tell them Chad sent you. Boop, boop. Oh, some more dates, and we'll get to this week's episode. Hang with me here. You know anyone in Colorado, Denver? If you do, I'm headlining the world-famous Comedy Works November 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Come on out. Hit me up. I'd like to sell some tickets there. It's the second time they're bringing me back, so it's a legendary club. It's where Dave Attell recorded the legendary Skanks for the Memories. So I always look forward to going to Denver. They got a great scene, a lot of great comics out there. Brant Tobler, Jeffrey Tice, who did my tour poster. A lot of good comics, good area. Looking forward to Denver. And then October 12th and 13th, 4 shows at the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm at the Comedy Spot in Scottsdale, Arizona. I haven't been there in 2 years. Love Scottsdale. Love Phoenix. Got a lot of friends out in Scottsdale. A lot of hot chicks. A lot of ladies. A lot of nice ladies out there. Mike Bibby's out there. You remember Mike Bibby dissed me? Former NBA player Mike Bibby? Yeah, well, I'm going to go to that Lifetime Fitness. I know you ball there at noon. And if you do that, if you diss me again, the Z-Man's going to come at you, bro. Fuck you, Mike Bibby. So that's 12th and 13th. And I'm in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, the 15th through the 22nd. I'm doing spots everywhere. I'm going to be at the Sycamore Tavern on the 18th, the 16th on Mike Tully's show. I'm at Barney's Beanery. I got a spot at the Hollywood Improv, maybe Comedy and Magic. Who knows? ChadZumock.com. You know what's up. All right, let's get this shit going, man. Let's get this shit going. All right, like I said before, Dave Landau is the guest on this week's Sit Down Zumock podcast. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Dave Landau. That's a wrap.
I kick it root down, I put my root down. I kick it root down, I put my root down. So how you wanna kick it? Gonna kick it root down. So how you wanna kick it? Gonna kick it root down. So how we gonna rock it? Gonna rock it root down. Gonna break it root down. Gonna kick it root down. Gonna put the foot down, love. Then I make some love, I put the root down. I'm like, sweetie pie by the Stone Alliance. Everybody know for dropping science. I'm electric like Dick Hyman. I guess you expect to catch a crew rhyming. Never let you down with the stereo sound. So I get on the mic, go turn it out. I kick it root down, I put my boot down. If you wanna bet on me, I'm putting loot down. I turn it root down, you better scoot down. Cause I dribble to the mic in my goose down. Come on, represent from the Upper West. You like D.O. putting you to the test. Sometimes I feel as though I'll be impressed. Cause I do it what I want, so it never rains. Come on now, could be like the foot of the dome. Got me stirring like the meters with the room.
All right, Dave Landau. You are my most requested guest. Bert Kreischer was, but Bert's been on 3 times.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so I always put these like little surveys out, like who'd you like to have on? Kevin was one, but Kevin's been on. But now it's Landau.
All right,
and it's happening.
I'm glad to be on it.
Dave Landau. Hey, come on, that's
You.
fine. Yeah. So we're in an undisclosed location doing this podcast.
Yeah, it's not a bar in Ohio.
It's the bar across from Compound Media where Bill Schultz goes.
Yes,
a lot.
and Gino.
And Gino Bisconte.
They're both unconscious 3 feet away from us.
Oh. So, Dave, congratulations on working with your radio idol, Anthony Cumia. That's pretty cool. Huh?
It's incredible.
You know, we've talked before in the past, like, the reason why I got into stand-up comedy was because I was a huge Stern fan, and Artie Lange was like, I was obsessed with Artie, like his stories about his book. And
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to listen to him on 97.1 when I was an industrial painter. And that's actually when I first heard Opie and Anthony was in Detroit market. They were on very briefly that I loved. But, yeah, I used to listen to I used to listen to Stern and Artie every day.
Yeah. I was late to the ONA train. Like, I got into it a little bit later. But like at their height when they were doing those tours with Patrice and everybody,
Yeah, they did one in Detroit, and I think Ohio too, like because they were briefly syndicated there, but it wasn't that long because of the bigger radio shows like Drew and Mike in the market, and then of course Stern was huge there because he was actually a what do you call it? Not syndicated, but he did a show out of Detroit before he was in New York.
That's right. I remember Private Parts. I remember him be living in Detroit. Yeah,
so he had this huge fan base there already, so it just built and built and built as he became syndicated.
Yeah, he was on 98.5 WNCX in Cleveland.
Okay.
Every morning I would listen to Stern, wake up. I remember when September 11th happened.
Yeah.
I was in my car listening to Stern, going to college, going, "What? Are we under attack?" Like,
yeah, he stayed on, didn't he, if I remember correctly? That's what I thought, yeah, because that's what I listened to as well. I was going back and forth between. I don't remember it well, but I do remember that he stayed on.
Yeah, and I remember going, I thought it was, at first I thought it was a bit, and then I go, wait, this is World War III.
Yeah,
I was going crazy, because I just got, and it was so ironic, because the night before I watched Red Dawn.
That's extremely ironic.
And I was just like, I really was like, I got to go to the store and go to the mountains.
Yeah, you just start loading a truck with guns and grabbing all your friends.
I got to go find the local high school football team.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I remember I walked downstairs. I was 19.
Yeah.
I think. And 19 or 18. And I walked downstairs and I looked and the towers were burning. And I was like, oh, that's the shittiest pilot ever. And my mom's like, what's wrong with you? And then, and I was like, oh, we're all under attack. And like the saddest thing that happened to me on 9/11 was I think I paid $5 for gas. I have no sob story. Nothing bad happened. You know what I mean? Like,
That's your first joke.
Yeah. She was just like, what's wrong with you? But yeah.
And that's when I got the itch for comedy.
Yeah, right then. 9/11. I was like, this is hilarious. And that was my first open mic. Actually, I think it was like September 15th, 2001.
Really?
Yeah, like a couple days later.
That's funny, man.
Just coincidentally. I think I was already on the list.
So I listened to Stern every morning, and I was just like, and Artie, I just, because he was like the lovable loser, and I'm a loser,
Yeah.
and I connected with, a degenerate. I'm like, I connect with this guy, and
Yeah, I was a drunk and an addict,
Yeah.
and I connected with him in that way, even though he wasn't really admitting it. Just like he admitted he had problems and there was stuff, but I was still using.
Right.
So I connected with him in that way of like, well, this guy's successful, why can't I be and keep doing this to
exactly.
myself?
It's like if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And
that's what's great about him is he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
And that's why people think it's so easy to be in radio or do things like that is because he's so naturally great at what he does. It's very difficult,
So now fast forward to 2018. I mean, can you just like put it? You're replacing Artie Lange. How crazy is that?
It's insane.
That
well,
is so weird.
It's weird because I guess I don't really see it as replacing because I was brought in as a third mic.
Yeah.
Because Artie and I would like be in the bathroom and he's like Artie would tell me like, how do you get here more? Like when we just pass in the hallway, like could we pay you to come in an extra day a week?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I don't know. And then
I don't necessarily believe you were brought in as a third mic. That's just I have no back.
No, I'm just going.
Think they were going in that direct. That's just no one's told me that.
And honestly, no one's told me that either.
Yeah.
I was told because Artie made it sound like he wanted me there,
Yeah.
and I think he did. I mean, we get along great,
Yeah.
and
Oh, he's a
Anthony
great
did.
guy.
He's such a good person.
Yeah.
And I got brought in, and it was pretty short though. I'll give you that. It was 3 weeks later that he couldn't do the show, but he was,
I remember talking to Florentine. I go, how is that going to work? Because with Artie there, it was hard to get a word in. I go, how are they going to bring a third mic?
right.
And I have nothing but love for Artie. I'm not shitting on him, but it was just like when you're sitting between Anthony Cumia and Artie Lange, two of the quickest people out there. I go, how's Dave going to navigate that?
I always just stepped in when I could and threw in when I want. It's just following their rhythm. Like there was you're sort of in the middle of a tennis match, reffing it. You just jump in where you can or throw out a line. And if you make Artie laugh, you got a few more things that you can throw in, a few more beats because he's laughing.
Yeah.
Like he's a genius. I mean, I will say that Anthony and Artie are the two funniest people I've ever sat next to. They're lightning fast.
It's unbelievable how quick they are.
And
by the time I come up with someone, you're already like 5 things ahead. I'm so behind.
Well, and people are so ruthlessly cruel to him now that I've seen on Twitter and talking about the stories that he does
What,
and all
Artie?
yeah,
of course.
and talking about like he's a heroin addict.
Yeah.
Like people need to calm the fuck down and let him get well.
Yeah.
It's difficult for him.
Yeah.
Like yes, you're mad at him, but at the same time, like he's mad at himself. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, he doesn't need that extra.
No, he's gonna like. People think tough love is always this answer, but tough love hasn't worked for him ever.
Right.
He just needs love right now.
Sure.
Is the way that I see it.
Well, that's a normal, stable guy thinking, and a lot of people out there, they don't necessarily. Just because we do weird jobs, they think we're like on some marquee, like like we're not human.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It is definitely bizarre, and I think Anthony, he never said a bad word about Artie, so it's hard for me to say like what I was brought in for or whatever reason. I never heard him say anything against him.
Sure.
Once. So
No, that's my conspiracy theory. I just said,
Yeah.
it's like, they're probably grooming Landau for the co-host.
dude,
Because
honestly,
he had the legal situation pending,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody really knew what was going to happen. So,
well, and even now I'm not sure he could do it because he has to drop, I think, 3 days a week while being watched.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's at random. And I think he has to have stuff signed. At least I know this from when I was on probation. Like, and you've been, haven't you?
I've been on probation. Of
Yeah, so
course.
it's like I think for him to go anywhere, you got to have those signed documents. You got to have all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, dot your I's, cross your T's, and
Right.
blow into your car and whatever else you have to do.
I think I heard Bobby Kelly tell a story somewhere that you drove him. You had to blow into your car to drive him somewhere.
Yeah, that was it was one of the first times. Well, it was the second time I met Bobby.
Yeah.
The first time he was telling me that he thought I was really funny, but I was a drunk and I needed to get help.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of my behavior at the show.
Bobby's done that to me.
Yeah, yeah. He's pretty good at spotting him, isn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, he told me to get help and did try to help me, you know. And it wasn't for my behavior during the show.
Yeah.
But it was after, you know, just how much I was drinking. And it wasn't
Right.
that I was hammered, but he was just like, dude, why are you pounding these back so easily?
I think I hung out with you during your drinking days one time.
I think years ago at the like the Improv and a couple places, maybe.
Yeah. You were fun.
Yeah, I was pretty good at it. Most people had a really good time with me, actually. Like I really wasn't like a mean person or anything. I just crashed a lot of cars and ended up in handcuffs quite a bit.
How many DUIs did you have?
3 altogether.
3,
But
okay.
13 arrests in total. But
Involving alcohol?
they all involved alcohol.
Really?
They were all 12 were under the age of 21 though.
Oh, okay.
I think most are under the age of 18 actually. And
Okay,
then
you were
one
just a dumb kid, yeah.
Yeah, and then one was when I was 27 and that's when I decided you know, I'd really need to stop.
You're not good at it.
And now I sell a calendar with my mugshot on it.
Well, I made the cover of my album my mugshot, so
Yeah, I think it's a good. I went into it was the police station because they wanted to use my mugshot for the Artie and Anthony show. So
Yeah.
I walked in and I walk into the police station. I go, yeah, I need the my mugshot, and they go, you want it removed? I was like, no, I need like a copy of it. And she goes, why do you want a copy of it? I go, well, I'm on the show, the Artie and Anthony show, and this cop in the back goes, Artie Lange? I go, yeah. He goes, all right, I'll get it.
see, that's good.
Yeah. It's like right away, he's like, oh, I see. This guy's just a scumbag who he doesn't care if it's up.
Well, that was with me. Like when I got the arrest for my DUI charge in 2012, it was all over because it was like on the radio at the time. So
I remember that really hurt you.
it was brutal. It was one of the, to this day, one of the worst times of my life because it was on all the news stations. It was in all the newspapers, and it
Right.
was just like I was just watching my life crumble in front of me.
And it sucks because that's affecting you more because even most people who see that don't give a shit.
Right.
But in your mind, what your mind's doing to you in that moment is it's everything.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere you look. And it makes it worse. It makes it very hard to stop the one thing to take you out of it. You know,
And
it's very difficult.
And I remember Florentine saying, "Whatever you do not read any of the comments. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I know you're tempted, but don't do it." So what I do is I read the comments,
Yes.
and they destroyed me.
Oh, yeah.
Like you go, this guy's a piece of shit. He
Yep.
should be sent away for life and whatever. And
Oh yeah, everybody is so quick to throw stones.
Oh,
Yet
yeah.
I'm gonna guess 98% of the population that has driver's license
Yeah.
have drank too much and driven a car.
Oh, yeah, of course. The hypocrisy behind all of it. And what really hurt me were the made-up stories, like blatant lies. Like,
Yeah.
I met this guy once. He tried sleeping with a girl that was like underage. Like, just lies. I'm like,
Well, yeah, it's always to some other ridiculous level of horrific behavior.
Yeah.
I had that where you look at like Anthony, where they call him a woman beater and all this,
Yeah.
even though he was acquitted because
Right.
of film.
Exactly. So they just automatically jump on. I mean, there's a morning show host in town in Cleveland that he just constantly lies about me and trashes me, and it's just weird that you work your whole life to do something and you're just known for one thing, and it's unbelievable.
No, it's a terrible thing, especially when it's your hometown, because I know how much you love Cleveland, and
Yeah.
it's like how I love Detroit, and I know some people like, shut up about Detroit. It's like, well, it's where I grew up.
Yeah.
It's how everything that I've learned in my life can relate to other people, so I can only relate to you what I know.
Yeah.
And people aren't that different, man. Like,
Yeah.
Cleveland and Detroit supposedly hate each other, but it's like, a guy in my city owns your basketball team.
It's true. Dan
You know what I
Gilbert,
mean?
yeah.
Like, and if you we're across, like, dude, if you look at the cities and the way people live, it's the same people.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
I know. I mean,
Like-
the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is like, you know,
Oh, it's insane. I've had my car keyed in like Columbus and stuff for having a Michigan plate.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, relax. I don't even like like college anything. I didn't go to I went to a community college for 6 months. Relax.
I got punched in the face. I went to Kent State University, and our colors are eerily similar to Michigan.
Yeah.
And I was downtown Cleveland during the Ohio State whatever game, and these Ohio State dudes, they punched me. They were hammered. He just came up and punched me because I was wearing Michigan colors.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, it's astonishing how, as you get older, you realize how dumb people are. And it bothers me because, like, I don't think I'm smart.
Yeah.
But then I see how others behave, and I'm like, I'm a fucking genius compared to half this country. And that shouldn't be.
Well, you're a comic, so we think a little bit differently. We assess situations different. I don't say we're geniuses, but we definitely analyze life.
Yeah, not a real genius, just compared to the guy who punched you because you're wearing a color he doesn't like.
You're definitely a genius compared to that guy.
Yes.
I'm going to give you that. So you were living in Michigan. You're painting?
When I was young, I was an industrial painter.
Yeah, come on over. We're good.
Yeah.
Cool. Right here. That's
awesome. Oh, sweet. Thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we need silverware.
Oh, right here.
Oh, okay. There we are. Oh, I just pulled back the curtain.
Should we pause it or keep going?
Let's do a station identification, and we'll be right back. Right
All
after
right.
this.
Sit down, Zumock.
Sit down, Zumock.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Sit Down Zumock podcast. I certainly am. Have I talked about my Patreon page? Patreon.com/sitdownzumock. That's where you go for extra content. That's where you go to support my podcast. Go there right now. Check out the tiers. For $3 a month, you get additional episodes, special giveaways, behind-the-scenes things. That's just for $3 a month. That's $3. That's nothing. It's a Bud Light at happy hour, man. You can find that in your couch. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a fan of the Kevin Brennan's Misery Loves Company, what I suggest you do is you unfollow him on Patreon and you follow me. Let's do this to Kevin because he'll go crazy. Let's just do it to annoy Kevin. Could you do that? And there's all kinds of tiers. $10 a month, the Has-Been Baller status. There's a meet and greet after my shows. You get comp tickets to one show. That's just for $10, dude. $20. You get a special guest appearance on my podcast. Comp tickets to one of my shows anywhere. I'm coming to Denver. I'm coming to Cuyahoga Falls. I'm coming to New York. I'll be in Scottsdale, Arizona. So, yeah. So for $10 and $20, you can do that. And you get a King of Stupid t-shirt. You get a copy of my album. And if you want to be a sponsor of the show for $100, you can do that. I will promote your product, your business, your podcast, your organization. Kevin Cernair is the lone $100 sponsor. He's with me every week. Kevin's an insurance agent in the state of Ohio. And I went through a nasty car wreck, and I didn't have an insurance agent. But Kevin's your guy. If you live in Ohio, he's a State Farm agent. He'll take care of all the unnecessary shit you don't want to deal with. If you get in any kind of fender bender, even if it's home insurance, renter's insurance, whatever, Kevin's your guy. Call him directly, 330-877-2323. He also has a website, kevincernair.com. It's in the link of this podcast description, so you can go right there if you want. And I have 2 albums online, Reckless Operation and Adventures in Argyle. You can buy my albums. It supports me. It supports the podcast. All right. With that out of the way, let's get back to my conversation with Dave Landau. Enjoy.
Sit down, Zumock.
Sit down, Zumock.
All right, we're back. Dave Landau's doing drugs. No, so we're...
You don't cook your Tylenol in a spoon? It's just me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're from the press. I'm being an idiot. My apologies. It's been a little vague and weird, awkward. She just won't leave me alone. So you started comedy when?
I started at Second City in 2001 doing improv.
You know what? We have the similar backgrounds because I was in sketch comedy and we would perform at the Second City in Cleveland.
Yeah, my buddy Topher Owen was one of the main stage there. Yeah, he came from Detroit.
Owen, I remember that dude.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a Second City in Detroit?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. John Candy opened it in '93. So and it ran until like 2008 or 9. I did one of the last shows there, and I mean it gave us people like Keegan Michael Key and Larry Joe Campbell. But I mean, even later, I was in an improv troupe with Sam Richardson, who's now on Detroiters and Veep.
Oh, okay.
And Tim, the other guys in there. I wasn't in a troupe with him, but I knew him there. Like,
Right.
it produced a lot of talent, actually, out of the Detroit area.
Yeah, I remember when Second City, Cleveland went. I go, why did it go out of business? He goes, because improvisers were running it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't. Same with Detroit.
Yeah,
You had this great theater there. They literally closed it
yeah.
and called it the City Theater, and now it's fine. It does great. Just because it's being ran by a business. They moved it to the Andiamo, which is an Italian restaurant, the Andiamo showroom in Novi, and they put it above a nightclub. So you'd be on stage, and all you'd hear is like, and it's like, we don't have mics. We're yelling on stage.
That would be brutal.
It was, dude, it lasted like a year, and then Second City was done. But when it was in downtown Detroit, it was a great, like,
Right.
staple.
You remember that club in Missouri? It was Deja Vu, where they had the nightclub downstairs.
I sure do.
Oh yeah, everyone has a Deja Vu story.
Where the whole place was underage drinkers.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I'm surprised. I wonder where Matt is. I don't know if he got in any trouble for that, but
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just remember. I remember I sent him a Vales one day. He's like, it doesn't exist anymore. So
right.
I was
Yeah,
like, all
yeah.
right, well.
It got weirder because Thursday was like the big night, then nobody was going to the show then, and
Yeah.
then the weekends were just awkward.
Yeah.
So I think like they cracked down on the underage drinking, and he went out of business.
That was our hook, though.
Yeah. It was, if you're 18, we'll put this bracelet on you. I hope you don't cut it off in the bathroom, and then we'll be able to serve you.
There's always those weird clubs. They always got that story.
Dude, that was a weird town because it was also like a bunch of rednecks and the hottest girls imaginable.
I know.
It was very weird. Like every one of them were just with a lunkhead.
Yeah, exactly, because they're stuck in that town. So these dumb hillbillies, they end up getting a hot girl because they're around.
Yeah, it's just some dude who looks like Duck Dynasty and like camo shit and then like a 10. And you're like, how is this possible? It was such a ridiculous place to do comedy.
I might have to move there, come to think of it.
It's not a bad place to live. You could open a club. I hear they're very successful if you let children drink.
So then after you were doing like improv, you kind of just started doing open mics, or?
My then girlfriend, now wife, and my friend Marty were like, dude, you're a great writer. You should really get on stage instead of just doing sketch. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And I tried open micing a couple times
Yeah.
just to see, but I made the colossal mistake in 2001 of inviting everyone I've ever met out to my first open mic.
Right, yeah.
And just eating a barrel of dicks.
Ooh.
Fortunately, I got a couple laughs because I had been doing sketch on stage. I had some presence, but it was really bad.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't really want to go up after that, but then they forced me to start going on stage, and Marty got me one night. Marty just showed up at Second City, and he's like, all right, we're going to Ridley's, then we're going to this place called Club Bart, and then we're going to the Heidelberg, and then tomorrow you're going to go to an open mic in Ann Arbor. And we went, and I had some stuff written, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
I think that was like 03.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started in 05.
Okay.
So, well, I technically started in 04, but I bombed so bad that I was like, I'm done.
Right. Yeah. That's how 01 was for me. Then 2002, I lived in LA and did drugs. And then 2003, I got serious about it again.
I lived in LA too. 2000.
Yeah.
I started in LA, which was odd.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Second City there?
No. I quit the sketch group, and I was mad at the guy in the group, Mike Polk. You
Oh, I know
Polk?
Mike. I love Mike. Yeah, he's
he was
a good
my
dude.
roommate for 3 years. So.
Oh, okay. You guys don't like each other then?
No, we're fine.
Oh, I was
But
gonna say-
at the time in 2000, we got in a big fight. Like,
You can't live with somebody and have it work.
yeah, and plus we were in the same sketch group, so we're always butting heads.
Right.
And people were taking sides in the sketch group, and it became.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, though. He's so funny.
Oh, he's a great comic without a doubt. So
You two are like the Cleveland staples that people know nationally.
yeah,
You know?
I guess him more so than me. I mean, he's had.
He's sort of you're more national, though. He's sort of like the Cleveland guy. You
Yeah.
know, like you're national known, but he's
Well, he had those viral videos, the Cleveland tourism.
the better
video.
than Detroit video. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I don't care. I thought it was hilarious. I when I first time I met him, I think I brought it up. He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry about." I'm like, "Don't, it's funny."
Yeah.
But he's always been very cool to me. So
Yeah. No, so I quit the sketch group and moved to L.A. for a girl.
oh, good call.
Yeah, this girl. We were doing the long distance thing. She just moved there, and 2 weeks there we break up. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Did you have a lease?
I had a new apartment. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know anyone. I was devastated.
Yeah, of course.
Because I was in love with her. And then I just go to the Hollywood Improv and sit in the back, and I was just sit in the back and drink. And Rita,
this is 02?
This is 05.
05, okay.
And Rita, who runs it, she's still the GM. She's originally from Cleveland. If she found out she felt bad for me, so she would like buy me food and I just watched like Chappelle, everybody, Gaffigan. Dane was at his height at that time.
Oh yeah, he was massive.
Huge.
I think it was that might have been even before the Retaliation or whatever came out.
I think so. I know. I mean, he was MySpace Dane all the way.
Oh yeah, he was massive, and then
so I was like, I got to do this.
Well, and I loved him. I mean, I was at that age though, like his Comedy Central half hour, and then him exploding on the Harmful if Swallowed.
That's a great album.
I don't care what anybody says. It's funny.
Yeah.
So was his half hour. It was very funny.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when he came out in the tank top and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny.
He gets a lot of shit, but
it was
props.
At the time too. It really was reminiscent of the rave culture that was going on in 2001. That very sort of punky rock, weird dudes wearing way too much silver jewelry and greasy hair.
Yeah.
You know, it was just how it was. It made sense to me because I was a raver and a drug addict.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he appealed to me just the same.
That's funny. It
was funny. Well, he did stuff like references. You reference the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
You're going to laugh because you're 19 and you know what the guy's talking about. There's not a lot of comics that relate to you on other levels. That's why Norm was so great.
Absolutely.
Because Norm would relate to you on things that you understood. It wasn't just about, standard comic shit.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a relationship, he's talking about rape.
So I basically after watching these monsters go to the stage, I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I only used stand-up to cope for my breakup. Like, it gave me something to do.
Sure.
And then I became really obsessive-compulsive over it. And then I got a lot of heat quick because somebody saw me do a tight 6 minutes, and it was like I pulled it out of my ass. And I was getting a lot of stuff I did not deserve, and I knew it. And
yes.
That's why I came home. I was like, I got to really learn how to do this.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing when I started. I was headlining after a year in a lot of clubs, especially in Michigan. And then I was invited to do HBO's, I think it was 2005, I want to say. I got to look, maybe 06, but it was HBO Best Young 21 Comedians in the Country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I just ate my dick, but so did a lot of people. Yeah, it was a shit show.
Okay.
They had a bunch of great... It was the new version of the Aspen Comedy Festival, but they did it in Vegas. And then they had, Chris Rock and Ellen DeGeneres and all these people. And then they had the 21 comics for people who had lost at the tables and could get free tickets to this event.
Oh, no.
So they hated everybody except Mike Loftus, I think.
Okay.
But other than that, hated everybody.
Wow.
And, yeah, that was a nightmare. But then in 07, I did Live at Gotham for Comedy Central. And that was 23, I think, when we taped it.
Yeah.
And that was I was actually ready and prepared for that set. I mean, I look back on it and I would change everything about it. But at the time, I did very well.
For what it was.
Yeah.
When did you work with Sam Tripoli?
I knew Sam when I moved to L.A. in 2012 because my friend Ken, who directed a movie I did all of Sam's editing, filming, all the Cash for Ass videos and stuff. That's my friend Ken who does all that stuff.
Yeah, because Sam speaks very highly of your comedy, too.
Yeah, Sam's great. Well, Sam also, at the time, is the one that helped me get on at the Comedy Store and a few places, opened a couple doors for me when I had first moved there. So it was it made it a lot easier because I was already in a Comedy and Magic in the Ice House.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really in anywhere on the Strip.
Right.
And he got me, into a couple places.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam's good like that. He's
He
a good
is.
guy.
And he's funny as hell.
Oh, yeah. Very. He's one of those guys, you don't understand why they're not bigger.
Yeah, I don't get it because he knows everybody and he started with everybody.
He's gotten so many people past at the Comedy Store. He's kind of responsible for a lot of these. like Sebastian Maniscalco, Burt Brenner. So he got so many.
Oh, yeah, he's a staple.
Yeah.
Well, he was there, like, when I was in 2012, dude, the store was not the place to be.
Ooh, no.
And Sam was still loyal, but, I mean, I was going up at, like, 11 o'clock at night to Hungarian immigrants.
Yeah,
like, people who didn't even speak the language, and every now and then you'd get a good Hollywood crowd.
Right.
But for the most part, dude, it was a pain in the ass.
Sure. Now it's the hottest thing in the world.
Ever. You can't get in.
Sold out every night.
I can't believe the 180 it took. I thought it was going to be a parking lot by now.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it really became something. I don't know how.
Well, it's Rogan. I don't know what. I think it was the Improv or something. I don't remember what club he was a regular at, but
Rogan, the Comedy Store was.
yeah. And I mean, he started going to the store, and I think Rogan's the reason it's that crowded.
Yeah, I think, and then everyone just kind of popped up around him with Marin and Dalia, and
Yep.
Now you could throw Kreischer in the mix, and they're all like store guys, and Bill Burr came back.
Yeah. Marin I saw there a couple times. Jeff Ross was always there. Like, there were some guys who always held on and did shows there, but now it's everybody.
Yeah. It's like it's one of those things. Like I've kind of come that peace that I'll never work the store.
It's
unless something crazy happens.
now, yeah. I mean, I don't even. It's weird because all these rooms, like, I guess I don't. I mean, I would do it in a heartbeat, but I'm not out there, so I don't really care. Like, I'm happy that I did it all the times that I did.
Yeah.
But at the time, there was this dude named Tommy who we looked like Tom Petty. We called him Tom Petty Busboy.
That's funny.
And I guess he was the guy who was the reason the store was tanking.
Oh, yes.
Because he was just a jackass to
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And finally, when they fired him, people started coming back.
Yeah.
Because he'd pull me aside one day. He's like, one day you'll be headlining, right? And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, you'll be in Iowa. And I was like, I was literally headlining in Iowa 2 weeks ago. And he wouldn't even hear you. He'd be like, no, and what you're going to need to, like, he would pull you aside and talk about your beats and your rhythm. And it's like, you don't know a goddamn thing about comedy. And I think he rubbed so many people the wrong way, he started tanking the club.
He's the Lee Herlins of the Comedy Store.
Yes, exactly.
I know Lee's not going to listen to this.
I don't think he listens to anybody. I don't think Lee's had a conversation with anybody ever.
Just been one long monologue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just for a couple of the Cleveland comics that are listening. Some guy in Iowa right now is like, who the hell's Lee Herlins?
Yes, yeah, that's
Exactly.
right.
Who the hell is he?
Point taken.
So then you're bopping around the country. I've known you for a long time, just from
Yeah, at least
The road.
10 years, if not more.
Yeah. And didn't you do Last Comic Standing?
I did, yeah. That was 20. Well, I did it in
You got some heat from that, right?
Yeah, well, I did it in 2007, 2008, but it was the whatever that manager's name is.
Barry Katz
years. So you were only brought in as tough competition and let through. So my jokes got aired, but I didn't advance.
I gotcha.
So that gave me a little bit of heat at one time because a lot of people were watching NBC back then.
Yeah.
And then when I was actually like a finalist, that was 2014.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
You went pretty far. I remember.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I offended Roseanne, or she didn't get a joke, and I made fun of her for not getting the joke.
Yeah.
And then I
She's not
wasn't
really
on the
good at
show anymore.
She has tough times with jokes.
No, it's pretty. No, it's pretty ironic that I was kicked off a show because she didn't get a joke, and now she's been kicked off a show because they didn't get her joke.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's hard for me to look at that and not gloat a little because you know sometimes what goes around comes around, Roseanne.
I'm not saying because you kicked me off network TV. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I hope that doesn't hurt as much. Oh wait, it hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
For 6 months, I had therapy because of it, Roseanne.
Who was the panel?
Keenan Thompson, Keenan Ivory Wayans, who's one of my heroes.
Living Color.
Dude, I grew up watching it. I'm Gonna Get You Suck is one of my favorite movies. When I made him laugh, dude, it meant me and my dad would watch it every Sunday before Married with Children and after The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I grew up with it.
I remember that. Yeah.
And Russell Peters, who was very nice.
Russell, yeah. I forgot he was on
And
that.
Roseanne, who was very nice up until that day. She really liked me up until that day. And I kind of wonder now, looking back on it, I wonder how much of it was NBC. To push me out of there for being a little bit more irreverent and not having, like, a handicap.
Who was it? Josh Blue in that?
No, Rodman.
Rodman. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Rodman.
Rodman. I love how every comedy club Rodman just left, or he's going to be there next week.
Yes,
Every
he's
single
still
month.
drawing off of it.
Really?
I think so.
That
I
could have
mean,
been you.
I doubt it. They're gonna like Rodman more than me. More family friendly.
I want to know Rodman's real name.
I don't know what it is. He did very well on the show. I mean, he was right for that show. I mean, personally, I thought Joe Mackey and Lachlan were better.
Yeah.
But Rodman was definitely. I guess I'm just being humble. He's a one name urban act, a fake name. It's just. I don't know. Just anybody who uses my name's Candy Cane. I don't really.
My favorite
respect.
And I can't take credit for this. I think it was Ryan Dalton that came up with this. Our favorite fake urban name?
Yeah.
Mo Jokes.
Well, Uncle Pimpin' was at the show the other day.
Yeah, Uncle Pimpin'. That was
Uncle Pimpin'. And
what a treat.
See, I started with a lot of guys who are urban in Detroit, and like Kool-Aid is a really funny comedian.
Kool-Aid?
His name is Kool-Aid.
That's not a bad
right, but
black
it's
name.
it's COOLAIDE.
Oh, you don't want to get sued.
Exactly. So, but it's like, why don't you just be you though? Like, you're a great comedian. Like, there's nothing even really urban about him. It's like if Chappelle went by Dynamite.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. You know.
My favorite story. There's a comic. I'm not going to say his name. From Cleveland, and he had a one-syllable name, a fake name, and we were working with Patrice O'Neal, and it was right when Patrice just did the roast, so he's having his pop right before.
Oh yeah, was he at the Improv?
Yeah,
well,
Cleveland
he's
Improv, the old
packing it.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
And O&A fans were all out to see him, and we're in the green room, and now I'm not gonna say his name. He comes in and he goes, "What's your real name?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What's your real name?" And he goes, "Come on, what's your real name?" He tells him his real name. He goes, "What's wrong with that name? What's wrong with that name?" And I swear, after that week, he went by his real name. He dropped the fake name because of Patrice.
Well, Patrice was
Just destroyed him.
Yeah, because Patrice was somebody who never, through his career, tap danced for Whitey.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that looks like. And I
Exactly.
think that's why so many people respected Patrice. Is there anybody that said fuck you more to the industry and others?
That's what I was thinking the other day. Wouldn't it be great to have Patrice during these times right now?
Dude, I would like to have it just to be on our show.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to see him with me and Anthony. Like, Elephant in the Room is my favorite special.
Yeah.
And it was one of those I turned on and just going like, this should be pretty good. And I've never laughed harder at anything.
Yeah. It's good that people are, now that he's gone, they're putting him up in the legendary status.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I mean, the alt community has more labeled him as a misogynist and hateful and, that sort of a thing. But
outta here.
real comedians
Yeah.
see him as the legend that he is.
I know. It's unbelievable. Hanging with Anthony, does he tell you any side stories about Patrice?
Oh, yeah, he loved Patrice. I
Yeah.
think they were very good friends. So, yeah, Patrice will come up a lot in conversation, especially if they talk about the O&A days or they get a caller. The legendary moments seem to all involve Patrice O'Neal.
Right, exactly.
It's pretty insane.
I'll go back on YouTube to this day and listen to some old O&A with Patrice and Bill Burr in studio. It was fucking firepower.
Oh, yeah, it was just, I would drive in my car and swerve off the road. I was just laughing so hard at them. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I know there's like the Opie thing with Anthony, but they were great together. I don't care.
Yeah, those two and Jim were a great show.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never met Opie, so I always kind of play along.
Yeah.
And obviously, Anthony's the one who gave me a shot,
Right.
And I respect Anthony. Anthony and I click.
Yeah.
I don't know Opie, and I hear so many mixed things about him,
Yeah.
but I can't. It's hard for me to shit on him.
I know him, but
Yeah.
I think I'm not like really tight with him. But he's always been nice to me, so
Right.
I don't have any problems. And it's like I have a situation in Cleveland with my old radio show. Like we don't get along, so people take sides and camps. And
Of course they do.
I'm sure they're going to say horrible things about me, and I'll say horrible things. So I just try to stay like, hey, he's cool to me, so I don't have a problem. It's not my
Yeah,
business.
I feel there's enough people that, especially now that I'm on Anthony's show and I've taken on all the O&A universe of people that.
Oh, you're in.
Oh, dude, it's a
Yeah.
it's a psychosexual obsession that I've never experienced
Right.
before. It is psychotic, dude. Like, the people that hate them are It's unreal. It's like I don't know what these guys did to you. Like entertain you on the radio. It's a radio show.
I know.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Change the channel.
Before we jump into that, so you started coming on Compound Media on Anthony's show,
Yes.
right? And is it Anthony just more or less take a liking to you? How did that all evolve into you being the co-host now?
We clicked the first day, which was I think like 2015.
Yeah.
And we just had a really good show.
I was
and
too
then
intimidated the first time I went on.
yeah, I don't know what it was. I was definitely intimidated. I
Yeah.
can't pretend I wasn't. I
Right.
still am to some degree. I'm sitting next to a guy who is a legend.
Yeah.
And I fucking love. So it's why I laugh. Like people was like, you giggle a lot. I'm like, because I'm giddy and happy. I'm
Yeah.
a happy person sitting next to a guy that funny.
Yeah.
But I came in 15. We just kept having like good vibes, playing off each other well.
Yeah.
They asked me to guest host a week. And then after that, a couple months later, I got offered the job.
Yeah.
And that was it, you know?
He's gone on to say that he has the only person he has chemistry with like you is Jim Norton.
Is Norton, yeah.
So that's kind of high praise.
It's pretty insane to hear that.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and like they'll be sitting there complimenting me, and I don't know if it's the Irish in me, but I don't know how to take it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of sit there and stare 1,000 yards in front of me, just like, thanks, appreciate it.
Right.
It's cool, though. I mean, it's something that there's no doubt that I had some dream driving around of like, oh, I just wish I was in that room and one of the hosts of this show.
Oh, absolutely.
Not thinking it would ever happen.
Yeah.
But it did.
I was so happy because you're like a Midwest guy. You're out there. You're doing the work. You know, you're the road guy. You got the family, and for anyone to get a break just because of their talent, I'm happy.
Thank you.
Like this, they earned this. There was no you had to kiss someone's ass or you knew a person.
No, that was the benefit of this is I seem to have most people, especially comics, in my corner.
Yeah.
Because I've opened doors for people, and I've been
Totally.
around for, 17 years to some degree in the
Yeah.
comedy community. So it's not like I didn't take the very long road to get here.
Yeah. No, it was well deserved, and especially where the business is operating right now with like gatekeepers and all the craziness that's going on.
Oh,
right now.
the ego and ego has swollen into something that isn't even. Ego can be healthy, but whatever this is gatekeeping, and being proud of it is not okay.
These top 10 comics to watch list are just hilarious.
Oh, it's awful. I just don't get it, man. Oh well, it's not comedy. It's Hannah Gadsby and all that other stuff that I'm supposed to pretend is amazing.
And the sad part is these people are looking at Hannah Gadsby and they're like, this is the way it has to go. I'm like, no.
No, it's not. Here's what I don't get about her, and I've said this on other shows. They're saying how she went out there and was talking about her painful thing that happened to her, in her case, rape. Like, it's never been done before. And it's like, what do you mean, Titus and Richard Pryor and
Yeah.
all these people who have opened their souls for forever? It's always been a part of comedy.
Yeah.
The only thing is, before, it had fucking jokes in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't 20 minutes of, average stand-up followed by another 20 of telling you why all men are assholes and how she was raped.
It's a rape TED Talk.
Right. Yeah. Where she was raped apparently way too many times. I just feel it's a lot of times to, like, what do you mean 4? I mean, granted, I guess I was arrested 13 times for alcohol,
that's-
so we don't all learn a lesson, but,
Yeah, but-
I knew where the cops were and not to drive by them.
Yeah. I question one of her rapes. I really believe it's 3. I
Yeah.
don't have anything to back it up. But
Yeah, I feel like it's a quarter dozen. That's all I'm saying. I feel like the 4th one's exaggerated. Yeah, I'm sure it happened, but there's a way to talk about stuff and make it hilarious and relatable,
Yeah.
and she didn't. She just said how, and I'm sure it was touching to people and more of a one-man show, but to say all comedy has, like, if you want some comedy to go that way, fine.
Yeah.
But to say that we're all supposed to do this, what do people can do? Like, well, honey, I'm going to buy $15 going down to the comedy club, and this girl's going to tell me how she was sexually abused for 45 minutes.
I think I just got inspired to do like a small sketch. I want to do like a trailer for my new special coming out, and I'm just talking about how I was raped, and
Yeah.
no one's laughing. It's gonna
Just
change
standing on
comedy.
stage, or just say the most tragic thing and everyone's going crazy. Just cut out to like a Def Jam audience when Bernie Mac was on.
My mother died from cancer in January.
Exactly. And you see like dudes standing, like you're high-fiving the audience.
I was molested as a child.
Come on, everybody. And I've talked about my mom's death, my dad's death on stage and stuff, and tried to make it funny. And some of it works, and some of it does. It's a very difficult thing to talk about, and I've definitely done it where I'm like, okay, that was too heavy, and now I'll do like a few bits about it that are funny. But it's a very difficult thing to do, and if you're not able to do it yet, putting out a special and being called amazing doesn't make sense to me. Because like, oh, you didn't figure it out. Neat.
My mom died in January.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I'm trying to talk about it on stage.
Yes.
And it's hard.
It's very hard.
It's very hard, but I don't want to bum the audience out because I just don't know how to make it funny yet. Like, I'm trying to make it funny, and that's the difficult. But I could easily go full on Hannah Gadsby and bum everyone out.
Well, yeah, that's right, and that's like I did. My mom died a couple years ago, and I was working actually hilarities.
I'm not sorry.
Oh, it happens. I mean, she deserved it. No, I'm kidding. Terrible. She died in a fire she started in a full daycare. But yeah, we were doing it the night before, and I started talking about it that weekend on stage. Like I was supposed to be at the Comedy Castle the following weekend, and I was like, if I cancel this, my mom wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
It's the last thing she would want me to do, so I'm just going to do it. And I talked about it, and it was very fresh and very new, and it worked. Like, it really related to him because I put my heart into it, and I was so fresh with the jokes. I wasn't even making jokes, but I'm like, this is literally the process of picking out a casket. This is, how some of them were just, it's creepy, because they're like, this one's got a leather, but, if you don't like your mom, we have this one.
That's funny.
It's very, and I was explaining it just how I had seen my week.
Yeah.
And I wish I had recorded it or done something, because it would have worked probably more, but it was just something that I needed to put out, just out of my mouth in front of people, and then I kind of shut the door on it. And it's because it's really, it is tricky, especially when you're away from it. When the more the weeks go on and the more you get used to it being a part of your life, it's hard to reopen that vein, and it's hard to even want to reopen that vein.
Yeah, I'm not going to give away the bit because it's not a bit. Like, one thing that stuck out at my mom's funeral that I want to make is I had an uncle come out with the smoke, and he was like, man, this is a depressing funeral. And I'm like, what would you expect? Strippers, Circus Olay, a DJ.
I really thought your mom's funeral would be a good time for everybody. Yeah, that's got to feel nice. But the one I talked about was we went into my mom's room after she passed, and I don't even want to use the term dad, but stepdad or whatever you want to call this guy was in my life.
I've had that. I have the same guy.
Yeah, where it's like he wasn't any part of raising me or just somebody my mom met, and then we all had to deal with him.
Yeah. I had the same dad, stepdad.
Yeah, such a useless turd. My dad was such a wonderful person that I never called him anything except his name.
Oh, that's great.
But we were in the room and we're going through stuff, and I open up a dresser drawer, which is a mistake.
Ooh.
And there's lube in there.
Oh, no.
And my stepdad looks and he pulls it out and he goes, in the saddest way, he goes, oh, well, we're not going to need this anymore. Do you and your wife want it? I swear to God.
That is brutal.
And I was just like, what the fuck? And my joke on stage was like, I'm banging my wife, like, is this new lube? Yeah, it was my mom's. Found it in her drawer while I was cleaning everything out because she died. Yeah, it was the most creepy thing. And I just looked at him in the room like, what the fuck is... No, I don't want it. I was like, all right, well, I'm just saying you could have it. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't use you and my mom's sex lube.
Okay, I got to circle back around. Let's get off our dead moms.
Okay.
And
literally. We're in a graveyard on top of two bodies right now. That's why it's been such a loud.
So now you're on the show with Ant, and we were talking about the O&A fans because you're in the universe now.
Yes.
You're in the whatever that is.
Yeah.
I think the only time I've never seen the O&A fans compliment anyone. Maybe Kevin Brennan.
They like Kevin.
Yeah. That's about it, because he's pretty much a troll too. He's an internet troll.
Yeah, they like Kevin, they like Brian, and they like Gavin. It's a bit of a mixed bag, and in Hot Water they enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And in Hot Water they seem to have to earn it, but now everybody's like, oh, it's brilliant. I'm like, it always was brilliant.
Yeah.
They have the biggest balls in radio.
Aaron Berg really swings for the fences, man.
Dude, he doesn't give a fuck. When there's a school shooting and they're interviewing the bullet, I mean, that's... Dude, it's stuff that, like, we go so far in our show that I'll leave and be like, wow, this is all recorded. And then I'll watch their show and I'm like, ours is very tame compared to what they just did this morning. Even the girl across the hall is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
They have a girl who comes in and does a dead-on impression of her, and the other day she was wrapped in tinfoil.
Jesus.
It's incredible.
Yeah, they definitely go for it.
Yeah.
So now that you're a part of this thing, does it just seem weird?
It's amazing because people come out to the show who want to see me, and they want to buy like a calendar with my face on it, and they want to take a picture, and it's like, this is the first time in my career, besides like a few months after Last Comic, where people literally came out to see me.
Yeah.
And now they're actually more rabid about it. Like, they really, and a lot of them, people look at it like an insecurity. The reason why I do talk to people online and retweet positive stuff is because it's nice, and people could be assholes, and I appreciate it when somebody's nice to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just the Midwest in me, but I talk to people like they're people. Unless you've wronged me, especially being a recovering addict and alcoholic, we're all on the same playing field.
Yeah.
So I don't look at myself as better or worse.
Right.
So I don't see the problem with communicating with your fans. Just my opinion. Now, conversely, yeah, there's Reddit pages. I don't like, obviously, that my wife and kid were attacked.
Yeah.
My wife's gorgeous. They want to call her fat because Kevin and I got in that tiff on Jim and Sam where, dude, it was nothing. It was just, that's how radio is, you know?
Right,
and it's like Kevin and I shake hands. I like Kevin. I've always liked Kevin. You know that.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre to me how people ran with that and the shit that I've seen them say to him and stuff in the back. It's like, guys, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. We're two guys that got a little hot-headed for 5 minutes, and it just happened to be on radio.
Right.
But yeah, the hate, like the people who make documentaries about like Jim and fucking.
I know.
There's a 6-part documentary that's longer than 2 of the Godfathers on Anthony right now, where whoever did it is filming outside of Anthony's house.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That is creepy.
Dude, it's not like I just want to meet the guy and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, this isn't what you did. Like, this is what anybody does. That's insane. Like, the obsession with some of these people is, dude, it's just disgusting.
It's weird. I mean, from my radio experience back in Cleveland, like people, they really think they have ownership of you in some weird way. Like, they know you, and it's, you know, I have a ton of fake Twitter accounts about me and.
Oh, mine too. Yeah.
So it's interesting. People put so much time and energy into that. It's just, I don't think I like anything that much.
Well, and they'll
anything.
have. No, dude. That's why. Like, I don't promote myself as much as these people spend time making videos about me.
Yeah.
I found one today. It was like Dave Landau telling the same story again, like Artie Lange, and it's like me and Artie are both better than you.
Yeah.
In every way. Yes, I've reiterated a couple stories a couple times, depending if it's on topic. Who hasn't done that on radio?
That just means they're listening every day. They're listening
constantly.
to everything you're doing, which is good.
Yeah, but eerie, and especially if you're listening to just create hate.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre thing to me, but it's like you said, there's this obsession where, there's Twitter accounts about me, there's Dave Landau's fat, like, the fat one started cracking me up, like the land cow one and stuff, like, it bothers me that you would attack my wife and my family, or like you would make ones of Anthony's dead mom,
Jesus
like
Christ.
shit like that. It's like, look, dude, come at me all you want, but when you're attacking people who aren't in the business, you're just being pathetic. You're being an insecure piece of shit, and you need to stick to me. Like, don't go at people's families who don't have anything to do with this.
I had Bobby Kelly on the podcast, and I was talking to him about the O&A fans.
Oh,
He goes, I go, you feel like proud of what you've done? He's like, oh, what? Help create some of the worst fans in the world?
Ever? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude, some of the pests, it's one thing to be a pest, but a lot of them really are.
Yeah.
And it's creepy.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby even said that about his you-know-what dude site. He's like, I think I should take the message board down because it's just people saying I'm fat. And that's what mine's become too. But I just get told I'm fat all the time. Where it's like, of course I'm fat. I'm in my mid-30s and I'm 5'5" and I eat like a grown man.
But you know, a lot of these people that trash you, if you meet them, like they're probably like they'll buy a calendar, they'll do everything
all the time.
Yeah.
No, there's people that will come out to shows and be like, "I'm this guy," and I'm like, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
And it's only happened a couple times, but they're like, "Well, yeah, I thought that's what you like."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I was talking to E-Rock about this. He says, you know, the difference between the fans, Bobby Kelly, Bill Burr, they're the funniest people in the world. Anthony Cumia, these are the funniest people in the world, and they're trying to. They think you're on that level. They're trying to emulate you with these message boards and stuff.
Absolutely.
But you're not the funniest people in the world. You're not.
No, and that's the problem with social media, too, is you've given these delusional people, the idea that you're the same.
Yeah.
And you're all on an equal playing field. And it's like, no, I'm in this seat making my $200 a week, I'm told.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of coin my 4-figure annual salary that I'm able to command.
I said this before, but it's just, I don't, like when I was younger, like being a celebrity was like, I would never meet Tom Cruise. Now I
Right.
can tweet Tom Cruise. That's
insane.
I shouldn't be able to communicate with Tom Cruise ever.
No, I should never be able to talk to I should never be able to tell Tom Hanks I didn't like his movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. I went and saw the new Halloween, and I was like, oh, I enjoyed that on Twitter, which
Yeah.
is the biggest mistake ever. Because 10 minutes, everybody's saying how awful it is, and it's like, you know, it's a slasher movie where a guy wears a mask. It's a sequel to part, like, oh yeah, why was all this crap from other movies in there? Well, it was a sequel to part 1, not the other one, so they were Easter eggs as a tip of the hat
Yeah.
to the other movies. Whatever, homo. All right, I don't want to do this all day.
So now you're home.
It's like, sorry, I enjoyed like, never say you enjoy something.
Yeah.
You must hate everything. That's what it is now. You must be anti-everyone and hate everything. It's crazy, man.
That's great. We're almost at an hour. Now, Dave, where can people find you?
DaveLandau.com. Twitter is @LandauDave. Instagram is DT Landau.
Get it together, man.
I know, right? I don't. I think that's it, right? YouTube is Dave Landau. I don't put any videos up though.
And you're Monday through Thursday.
Compound Media,
Yeah.
www.compoundmedia.com, or download the Compound app if you're listening and you want 20% off. Compound 20.
Really? I didn't know
Is
that.
the code. Capital C Compound 20. And that'll get you 20% off your first month. We call it giving you a taste to get you hooked in.
Yeah.
Just like a little bit of crack just to
Yeah,
keep it
little
coming back.
foreplay.
Yeah, a little bit. Tease the nipples.
I'm releasing this on Tuesday, so I will be on the Anthony Cumia with Dave Landau on October 31st, Halloween. I will be in
Awesome.
studio, and I'm doing the Bill Schultz on the 1st. And
Are you doing Gotham that night by chance?
I emailed what's his name?
Sean?
Yeah, Sean. He never got back to me.
You hit him up again, because I'm at Gotham then, because we can just go over there.
Yeah, I'll go hang.
'Cause I'm
for
on
sure.
that night. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely. What are you doing? Comedy Juice or?
No, just their regular Gotham All-Star show.
Oh yeah.
I did do Comedy Juice once, but I don't do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I pretty much just do that, Dangerfields, and Caroline's.
Okay. Go to DaveLandau.com. Thanks, Dave.
All right, thank you.
Bunch of bullshit. 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 Bunch of bullshit.